My 29 female ex-husband Carter, 27 male, and I divorced almost 4 years ago. He divorced me. I was blindsided because I thought we had a very happy marriage. Unfortunately, this year, I was in a hit and run and was hospitalized. My insurance didn't cover much, and they never found out who did it. I drained my savings. I couldn't live in my apartment anymore since I could no longer physically walk up 5 flight sisters. I had a job, but was let go. I was struggling, and it was a low point in my life. Carter and I hadn't kept in, but he contacted me and said I could live in one of his spare rooms. I had no other options. I offered to pay him rent, but he refused. He has a maid for chores. I cook for him sometimes. It's okay. He's very chatty and bubbly. If I close my eyes, I can pretend we're friends again and that we never took the leap into a relationship and a divorce. My childhood friend Claire called to sympathize with me about not finding a place. I told her I was living with Carter. She insisted on coming over as she's also been friends with him and had refused to take a side. When she arrived, Claire started to talk about how this was a bad situation. She asked me if I paid rent and I told her, no. She said his pity would end and asked if I wanted to be a beggar for the rest of my life. I told her I wasn't a baker, and she said she would tell our friends. I pleaded with a not to. Claire then said that if I didn't think my actions were wrong, I wouldn't have cared if she told everyone. I feel ashamed. I've been avoiding her. She called me yesterday and said I was being childish and emotionally manipulative behaving that way. Am I the idiot? What the heck is up with Claire? Is she screwing your husband? This Win didn't take your side in the divorce, but now is concerned that you're taking advantage of your ex. Something's up here. Not the idiot. He offered, and you have little options. Block her and anyone who agrees with her. This is between you and Carter. No one else. Just do your best to get on your feet again. Claire thrives on being perfect and right. It's a terrible quality. Claire pretends to come over to help, but instead openly judges and instills fear into those who need compassion, threatens to blackmail you socially and offers zero practical help on her suggested roadmap. Claire is gross. Do not let her put fear inside of you. Carter is happy you're around, and things will work out for you. Stop interacting with Claire ASAP. She offers you nothing, but you offer her a chance to look down on someone, the opportunity to be superior, etc., etc. That's not friendship. She would never risk her marriage. She's smart and intelligent. Claire's family has always paid her rent, and she has a trust fund that will run out 2 or 3 generations after her. She thinks Carter is handsome, but flaky and not her type. She considers a good friend because they run in the same social circles. I was friends with her first, but I can't fit in with wealthier people like them. She always told me that Carter and I wouldn't stay married, because he'd get bored of me, and she wasn't wrong, but she could have supported me instead of being neutral. Carter is very kind and I sometimes feel guilty for my complicated feelings. He wants to chat a lot, and I feel obligated to spend time with him because he's doing this kindness. He has a lot of friends, but he seems lonely. He cries in his sleep sometimes, which he never used to do. He doesn't like to be alone. There's a part of me that still loves him, and he keeps poking those parts of my heart. So then be his friend. And don't feel guilty. He offered and you accepted. No begging, no mooching. He's just being kind and a good friend. Are you sure Claire or some of your so-called friends didn't make up some outrageous lies about you and fed them to Carter? Did he tell you why he wanted a divorce? Claire said that he wouldn't stay married to you, then he divorced you out of nowhere. But now he's the only one who helps you, and he still seeks emotional intimacy and cries in his sleep. I've read too many novels, but it appears suspicious by what you're writing here. I think she might be the reason he divorced you. She is an overprivileged, complacent woman with a superiority complex. One day, life will kick her and she'll learn some empathy and humility. Wonder if she's afraid you two might get close and end up back together and her secrets come out. It's the only reason I can see that she's making such a big deal out of this. Cut her out entirely. She has no empathy and isn't a friend. This is messy. Our 40 male had been married to my wife, Cindy, off and on. We had a child together who's now lonely adult. We had a rocky part in our marriage and split for a years where I met a woman, Stacy. We were together for a while, having twins together, twins. Stacy and I split up because she was unfaithful. 2 years later, I reconcile with Cindy, and we have my twins every weekend due to our work schedules. This past weekend my oldest daughter went into early labor. It was also my weekend with my twins. I had told Stacy on the way to the hospital that I wouldn't be able to have them this weekend due to this. I pull my phone on silent in a way due to a lot going on. When I returned to my phone, I had a bunch of text from Stacy saying how I needed to go home and be with my twins and how Cindy could handle this situation. I told her absolutely not, that I wasn't missing the birth of my grandchild. She then responded angrily saying how I was picking my oldest daughter of my youngest and how wrong that was since they could only see me on the weekends anyway. I tried texting and calling multiple times throughout the weekend, getting no responses. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. This was your responsibility to figure out. It was your weekend. Making your ex rearrange her schedule because you decided not to get the kids is unacceptable. Your weekend means that you need to arrange childcare if needed. Do better. Stacy might have made whatever plans for the weekend. Oh, no. Opie's oldest child had early labor, though. That is not equal. If Stacy can't understand how important the birth of your first grandchild is, did Stacy not even care for your oldest daughter? She had an early labor. Not the idiot. Stacy should be more understanding. Easy for all these people to say that you're an idiot when you were the one who had to go through the stress of worrying that your eldest daughter can have a healthy delivery. Ignore these people off. Labor is an emergency, especially premature, especially under 18, especially if you're in the U.S. Your child is undergoing a painful, scary, life-threatening procedure, something that absolutely takes priority over a regular weekend with your younger children. Make it up to your twins later by taking them somewhere extra fun next weekend. As for their mom, having your ex have an emergency and being unable to take the kids during their time is an expected part of co-parenting. I'm not sure what plan she could have had, but frankly, emergencies take precedence. We had new neighbors move in a while ago. Up until this point, I had no issues with them. They're a young couple with no kids and a large dog that barks no more or less than any other dog. About a week ago, they started painting the fence between our properties. I happen to know the fences on my property, so they had no right to paint it. I went back and forth on whether I should say or do anything. At first, I thought it wasn't such a big deal. They were only painting the side facing their lot. However, as it turned out, they were doing that in preparation for painting their house pink. The rest of the houses in this neighborhood are regular house colors, gray, white, tan. It looks god-awful. This just didn't sit well with me, so I went over and told them that the fence they painted actually my fence on my property. They were slight. Jordan mumbled. Okay. So I said, you'll fix it, right? They said they didn't know how, and I asked if it was really that big a deal. I told them fine, why not just let me come on to their property and mess around with their things. Then they asked me why I didn't say something before they were finished. And I told them that it wasn't my job to do their research for them. They should know better when they got the land survey done at inspection. They said they waived inspection, which, again, isn't my fault. They asked how they could fix this and keep the fence the color they'd chosen, as it would mean one side of the fence wouldn't match the others. I said, tough crap. It's not my problem. I told them I would be kind and give them the weekend to fix the fence. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Yes, you should have told them while they were painting it. Why didn't you? Well, as you yourself say, maybe it wasn't such a big deal. Seems the real issue is the color of the house. That's when he started complaining, saying things like they should have researched and tough crap. And giving them until the weekend to fix it. You sound really punitive and unforgiving. Why are you like this with your other neighbors? I wonder what they really think about you. I suspect Opie will realize they don't have the power they think. If I were the neighbor and Opie told me they had until the weekend to fix it, I told them to get lost. Hope you chose not to say anything before or during. Now it's done on my time and at my cost, and they will be a jerk about it. Enjoy your pink fence, buddy, or repaint it yourself because I'm not fixing crap. Am I reading it wrong? I thought the fence color was fine. The house gallery doesn't like, so he's making them redo the fence for no reason except to be an idiot. Also, a land survey is not part of the inspection process. So what do you want about? I hope they do get a land survey done now because I can basically guarantee your claim that the fence is on your property is BS. I really hope this is true. My dad had a neighbor who would scream at him every time he trimmed the bush she planted on his property because they scratched his car when he pulled into the driveway. One day got sick of it and cut the bushes down entirely. She called the police on him. The police were basically like, "Why are we even here?" But ended up giving her a fine because her sidewalk was damaged and hazardous to other people. My dad gets into stupid pointless fights, but, damn, I loved him in this moment. My husband, 40, and I, female 38, have good jobs. We tried to have children for years and tried multiple rounds of IVF, but in the end, we decided to accept that it wasn't happening. We're now a 2-income, no-kids family. On the other hand, my sister was a single mom of 2 by the age of 26, never married, kids have 2 different dads and both left. Then met a single dad of 1, so a total of 3 kids in the house and married them right away. Since then, they have had 5 more kids, a total of 8. Now she just announced she's pregnant again. She doesn't work. He works long hours and doesn't lift a finger at home. Now my parents and sister are pressuring me to pay for my nieces and nephews' nanny. I told them my sister made a choice. Why should I sacrifice my savings? I paid for my college and saved up instead of splurging. My sister said my nieces and nephews are the closest thing I have to a child. I'm selfish for caring more about my dog and cat. I always buy my nieces and nephews presents. She's referring to my pets being loved by my husband and me. My parents called me selfish and jealous because my sister can have beautiful kids, and I can't. Am I the idiot for not contributing to my sister's kids' nanny? My parents called me selfish and jealous because my sister can have beautiful kids and I can't. Wow! That's an indescribably cruel thing for them to say. Your whole family has serious issues. Not the idiot. She shouldn't keep popping out kids if she can't care for that many or the money to look after them. Birth control is cheaper. She should try that. Exactly. How horrible it's your turn to be offended. I would contribute to pay for your brother-in-law's vasectomy. Holy hack, dude. Get off her, especially when you're not helping her. Hopi, not your kids, not your responsibility. Honestly, I would stop communicating with them and buying stuff for her kids. Consider hiring a nanny companion for your dog and cat during the day to keep them company. Rag about it to your parents and sister and let them know they're just jealous. You can afford a nanny and companion and they can't. Then make a social media post about how blessed to have a loving husband and pets who adore you. How blessed you are to be financially secure to provide for your family without having to leech on others. And how hard you've worked to have a life filled with all these blessings. End it by telling them how selfish they are for trying to take your pets' nice things. Just go no contact with your sister and parents. Calling you jealous because she can have kids and you can't was uncalled for. It sounds like they always wanted to say it, and their unnecessary rage let it slip out. They don't care about you. Only the money they want access to. My husband has a teen daughter, Mia, from a previous relationship. She lives with us part-time and has recently started dating around. We haven't always gotten along the best, but I love her like my own, regardless. This past weekend, Mia was going on a movie day with a new boy that she said would end at around 9 p.m. My husband was at work at the time. He's a first responder and his hours and flexibility are a bit uncertain. However, he was aware of the day and was pretty sure he would be able to pick her up. That was the plan. I'm in my third trimester of a rough pregnancy and placed on bed rest by my doctor. I wouldn't be able to pick her up. Here's where the dilemma arises. At around 8:15 p.m., Mia called asking if her dad could pick her up now because her date made her uncomfortable. I was concerned for her, but I felt stuck. I explained the situation to her. I was on bed rest and couldn't drive, and her dad was still at work and couldn't leave yet. We don't really have any family that lives nearby, and I didn't want to spend another 45 minutes with this idiot boy. So I asked a neighbor if they could pick her up. They did. My husband and Mia are both upset with how I handled the situation. They seem to think I have some resentment because she's my stepdaughter, which is not the case at all. They said that I should have acted more urgently because we don't know this boy very well, and he could have hurt her. They think that I should have just violated my bed rest order and went because it's a short drive and doesn't require much movement. I feel like I did my best considering my physical limitations. Am I the idiot? Mia calls for a ride to get away from her date, gets a ride away from her date, and is now upset that she checks notes, got a ride to get away from her date. Yeah, you can pretty safely ignore that crap. Not the idiot. You found a way for her to get home sooner than planned. I can see why your stepdaughter is upset because she's young enough not to fully understand how serious bed rest is. Plus, a teenager who had a challenging experience. However, your husband is an adult and a first responder, so he has zero excuses for this nonsense. Also, what was his plan if he got held at work and couldn't pick her up? Backup should have been ready to go since you're on bed rest. This is my take as well. As a first responder, he should understand the importance of bed and the medical complications that could occur if something happened while you were out picking up the older daughter. Why risk it when there are alternative measures? How about telling her to plan a day when he's off next time? Sucks, but if he wants to control things, he must be ready for all of it. A pregnant woman on bed rest who is out driving is a recipe for disaster. Oh, come on. I was on bed rest, and my husband, a computer guy, understood exactly what that meant and why. Most decent husbands whose wives are on bed rest, the scared stiff that if they violate their bed rest, they'll go into preterm labor. He could end up very badly for the mother and baby. They are very protective and have a backup plan if they can't do their assigned job. Okay, your husband is an idiot and is to maybe worried that she will be less important when the new baby comes. He just reinforced those possible worries by not having any backup plan.